Ripple is at the center stage of what comes next for the digital asset space as it enters the mainstream. The SEC lawsuit against Ripple is setting pace and creating opportunity for XRP to help set a precedent for the rest of the ecosystem. It's no wonder that investors, executives, and compliance professionals want to stay up to date on what is happening in the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit, as well as the firm's moves in terms of innovation, expansion, and new projects. Before we proceed, as we can see on CoinMarketCap.com, the current price of XRP is at $1.20. We are in the green zone today, and the market has been up by 11.59% over the last 24 hours. All the bullish news we've been getting all week long is finally taking effect. With that said, let's roll that intro and get into today's video. What's up, guys? Welcome to Moneyside, your favorite crypto news channel. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you get updates when we upload new content. To my Moneyside gang, welcome back to yet another video. Don't forget to smash that like button and leave comments in the section below if you find this video informative. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's get started. Starting us up today, we have this tweet from BankXRP that says, Ripple found out about an email chain between the SEC and a third party that could prove Hinman's 2018 speech was not merely a personal opinion, but the SEC's policy. The judge wants to take a look at it. Further in that tweet, he shares an article that says Ripple's legal team has recently detected descriptions from the SEC's privilege log, which suggest they may be highly relevant to this case. One in particular is an email chain concerning discussions with a third party whom defendants understand received guidance from the SEC to analyze its digital asset under the framework set forth in Director William Hinman's June 14, 2018 speech. The SEC sent an email to a third party telling them to analyze a digital asset using the factors in the Hinman speech, which speech was just his personal opinion. I understand now it's the SEC that needs clarity. Attorney Jeremy Hogan commented at the time, pointing out the agency's contradictions. The document could explicitly prove Hinman's speech was not merely a personal opinion, but the SEC's official policy. This has been a vital issue in the lawsuit. Furthermore, if the judge confirms that the SEC spent all this time insisting that the speech was merely Hinman's personal opinion, while providing guidance based on that speech, the SEC will likely be in a bad place throughout the rest of the lawsuit. Next up, we have another tweet. This is from Mac Attack XRP that says, XRP price is all set to the moon, with Ripple's strong positioning against SEC. As we can see from that article shared from Coinpedia.org, we see that Ripple has ridden under the clutches of its legal feud against the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, which has asserted significant harm to the platform and XRP holders. The recent hearing has given essential inputs on the prevailing case. A famous lawyer has taken it to a public platform, giving out several insights from the hearing. Ripple defendants have filed their opposition to the request of the SEC, asking for a telephone conference in order to seek a protective order, relieving the SEC of any obligation in responding to the requests for admission, the RFA. Ripple defendants state that the RFAs concern critical facts that defendants believe are not genuinely disputed. Meanwhile, the SEC claims 1,700 contracts to be part of an ongoing securities offering, but complains it to be a burden for them to read and respond to each contract. Judge Netburn orders the SEC to submit the documents and the letter justifying their proposal no later than October 15th. On the other hand, the Ripple defendants have to reply to the SEC by October 22nd. Next up, we've got this tweet. It's from RuleXRP that says Ripple's 3 reasons why the SEC's boil the ocean demand should be denied. Crypto. As we all know by now, the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit stretches on, and the expert discovery deadline has been moved to November 12th. However, one major conflict in the lawsuit relates to the recordings of internal meetings that Ripple was to produce. The SEC had previously called Ripple's search methods flawed. The regulator also wanted a pre-motion conference for an order so it could compel Ripple to produce said recordings. Now Ripple has listed 3 main reasons as to why the SEC's motion should be denied. What are these 3 reasons? As mentioned in the article dated October 8th, the filing by the attorneys for defendant Ripple Labs Inc. claimed that the discovery deadline was over and that the SEC had agreed to Ripple's search methods for its recordings. Next, the filing claimed that Ripple had met its obligations by carrying out the previous search. Finally, Ripple claimed that there was no way to search for more recordings unless it reviewed more than 4,000 of them in total. Moreover, the filing stressed that Ripple's search was comprehensive and reasonable. So far, XRP's price has been moving along the narrow range for a brief period now. We have hardly had any upswings on the chart, but hopefully the digital coin will witness a leg up, probably a win in the legal hurdle. The court had earlier given John Deaton the power to brief questions of law on behalf of the individual movements. This has been a massive plus for the XRP community, as the interests of the XRP community and the individual movements are streamlined. We can all agree Ripple is far from stuck in the XRP lawsuit. The blockchain firm has announced partnerships in CBDCs and payments. Its digital asset continues to be listed on high-profile exchanges, and the lawsuit is rippling through, pardon the pun. With all that in mind, time now to take a look at the technicals. Now, I make this analysis in XRP in the daily time frame to know the situation in the short term. XRP, it's continuing to strengthen this month, and there's a lot of financial news that impacts the price. Now, don't be wrong in this cryptocurrency. Remember that XRP, well, it's a cryptocurrency with big potential to transform the financial world. Now, I think one thing now is to focus a little more on XRP, as this cryptocurrency continues to get more news for the next month to watch out for. I'm using the Elliott wave analysis, and we passed the correction ABC pattern, and now we can try to enter into this new bullish phase, forming a new Elliott wave cycle. Now, if we look at Bitcoin here, and this is the 2-hour time frame perspective, in recent times, Bitcoin heavily developed bullishness to the upside and moved into important resistance zones. There is still an underlying demand dynamic in the market, and in this case, now I discovered the main formation Bitcoin is forming here, which will be a decisive factor in the upcoming times, especially when it properly completes. Therefore, as when looking at my chart, we can watch there how Bitcoin has developed this main ascending channel formation marked with the blue boundaries. Within this channel, Bitcoin has a coherent wave count with the waves A to C already completed. Currently, Bitcoin is about to form the wave D in the structure, on which the wave E will follow, which completes the whole wave count. In this case, it will be important on how Bitcoin approaches the conformational bounce cluster marked in orange in my chart. When there comes a solid bounce to the upside, this will be the likely origin of the completion of this whole bull flag formation, which will be finalized with the breakout above. Bitcoin will then firstly appoint the 59,450 level and test it. When the demand can hold on further, there is the potential for a bullish continuation above this level. For now, it will be highly important on how this formation completes. Remember that it can also be invalidated when Bitcoin breaks down below the supports. Therefore, we should keep patient and wait for the final validation. As always, my friends, do your research and trade safely. Please keep in mind we're not a licensed financial advisor. All the videos on this channel are intended for entertainment purposes only. Tell us what you think in the comment section below, and let's have a conversation. As always, I thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, and we invite you to subscribe down on that button below. Be sure to turn on notifications too, so that way you get informed whenever we post our amazing content. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.